do see like she's more like a long-term mission, endless mission type. So.
Yeah, she'll be like most Warframes. She's great in almost every scenario, but she will just be very different to play in endurance missions.
So Koumei is going to shine on endurance missions more than anywhere else because of those decrees that she's going to get, apparently. So it's going to be a very interesting week when we get our hands on her later on Wednesday. But this week's update is also bringing some absolutely huge and much needed changes to companions. Right now there is a set amount of companions that are, I guess, favoured within the Warframe community. These changes are looking to maybe shake that up a little bit, simply changing how charm works and giving that resource boost to all beasts in the game is going to make our other pets much more appealing. But I'll get to the pet stuff in a minute because, like I said, I feel like these changes are absolutely huge. Now, the one thing that we have learned since the dev stream at the Tokyo Game Show is that Koumei will have a pity system. It was one of the things I mentioned in my dev stream recap video that they hadn't confirmed, but since that, they've now done a bonus dev stream which confirmed the fact that she's going to have a shop which will allow you to buy her parts. Now, if you're new to Warframe, it's basically a way to get her components, even if your RNG is a little bit crap. Now, when the update drops, Koumei's statue on Cetus is also a vendor, where you're going to be able to buy her parts and her weapons for those Faith Pearls, which will drop on the new mission that we're going to be doing in Cetus. Like I said, you'll also be able to pick up those 2 new weapons. Now, I love the fact that Rebecca and her team have been consistently reducing the grind update after update, and long may it continue. Now, also in this store, you will find 2 new augment mods for her 2 signature weapons, the Higasa and the Aminata, which provide both with a significant boost in power. Pablo explained on Twitter that these mods are designed to replace Serration and, I assume, Pressure Point. They've been added in because the Faith Pearl mission is a new player-friendly mission, which is where you're going to get these weapons, so they couldn't be super powerful straight off the bat. However, these augment mods not only increase the weapon's strength, but also reduce mod capacity compared to, I guess, their normal equivalent, while also adding a little bit extra on top as well. So Higasa Serration is plus 450% bonus damage. Normal Serration is 165. So on paper, it looks like a really huge buff. Now, in the bonus dev stream, we've seen Koumei in action, her abilities, the dice rolling, and what some of them look like when she gets those 666s. Her first ability with the Threads of Fate had different coloured threads going from wall to wall, which represented what elemental damage that those threads then dealt. And when you got 666s, all of the threads were basically a silver or white colour. So it was a low-level mission, so it was hard to gauge how powerful Koumei was or how powerful her abilities were. Her ultimate did at one point hit for about 80,000 twice, but like I said, they were level 20 enemies, so it's nothing to really, I guess, shout home about. We also learned that Koumei's decrees will indeed stack, making her something of an endurance frame because of this. However, it's still unclear what specific decrees she has, if it's pulled from all of the decrees that we have in Duviri, or if there's any of the corrupted decrees going to be in there as well. Or again, how many can be actually stacked if it's an infinite amount. If it is, goddamn, the power she's going to throw out will be crazy. But because of this, I'm going to assume that there will actually be a limit. Now, her third ability, which I believe is her subsumed one, is called Omamori. It surrounds her with charms, and instead of taking damage, she will get healed instead. If you triple roll 6s with this, you gain a phase of invulnerability. However, a lot of people on my dev stream recap video had mentioned that maybe you could just spam this ability and try to constantly roll 666s to give yourself that invulnerability. We now know that you can't recast that ability while it is active. So for those hoping to spam it for consistent invincibility, now you know it's not possible. Now, on top of this, on the original Tokyo Game Show dev stream, they mentioned a lot of really nice changes to pets and companions with the part 2 of the companion changes, which I will do a quick breakdown of right now. But they also have a huge dev workshop post going over every pet and every weapon change that is coming with this update on Wednesday. Way too many changes for one video, so I will leave the link to that dev workshop post in this video's description. Now, first off, non-sentinel companions like Kubrows, Kavats, Praetorsites, Vulpophilas are getting dedicated weapon slots similar to what Hounds already have. This separates the precepts, the survivability, and of course the damage mods, solving the complaint that we've had within the community for these companions for a very long time. Now, when you log in on Wednesday, each of your beast companions that you already have will automatically receive a specific weapon that doesn't take up inventory space and doesn't cost any resources for you to make. These weapons will rank up and gain affinity, but they won't give you any mastery rank. The downside to this is you will more than likely require Forma to maximize your builds now for these weapons, so it's probably yet another Forma sync. Now, these weapons won't have identical stats either. Each companion type has its very own unique weapon stats. Kubrows, from Sahasas to Huras, Kubrows have had their weapon damage and crit stats completely adjusted, with the Sunika Kubrow now being the hardest hitter at 550 base damage. Predicites now vary in status chance, like the Vizia Predicite now having 30% status chance. Kavats, the Yardaza Kavat now shines with a 30% crit chance, while the Vaska Kavat gets boosted damage and status. For Vulpaphilas, each type has a unique blend of status and crit values, with the Panzer Vulpaphila gaining the highest, I think 25% crit chance. Whereas the Helmet Charger now deals 200 splash damage plus an extra 50 toxin damage on top. Hounds weapons have been boosted to a base of 300 damage, up from 152. So we will all need to revisit our doggos. However, probably the best change in this, update is the introduction of the Loyal Retriever Precept mod. They've basically taken the resource buff off of Smeeta's charm effect and given it to every beast companion in the game as a mod. So no matter which beast companion you're going to use, you will have a chance at double pickups. So Loyal Retriever is a new precept mod that introduces the passive ability that gives you a 13% chance to double the resources or credits you pick up during a mission. So here's how it's going to work. Unlike charms, random buffs, Loyal Retriever doesn't need to be activated. It's always working in the background with no cooldowns or no triggers. Every time you pick up credits or resources, there's going to be a 13% chance that the amount you pick up will be doubled. So this is consistent and applies to everything that you pick up. Unlike Charm, you don't have to wait for this effect to trigger with a buff. It is always there. It's just a passive benefit. But there is also two separate retriever mods for credits and resource acquisition. There is Prosperous Retriever, which increases credit pickups by 18%, and then there is Resourceful Retriever, which increases resource pickups by 18%. Now, whether these stack with the other one, I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to assume that they won't, because if they do, that's huge. They've also added new posture mods for our beast companions that will change the behavior of those companions. Mods like Protector Training, which will prioritize enemies near you. There is Pacifist Training, which keeps your pet from attacking until provoked, while also giving it an evasion boost. Then there is Bravado Assault, which targets Eximus units, dealing extra damage to any enemy that has Overguard. There are 6 of these in total, and you can get them off conservation vendors on the star chart. Then there is a host of new damage conversion mods for pet weapons that will allow your pet to specialize in a certain damage type, like heat, like cold, like toxin, electric, and so on. Even Sentinel weapons are getting a complete tune-up. Weapons like the Artax and Burst Laser now have better accuracy, higher damage, and increased status chance. Meanwhile, weapons like the Cryotra Sentinel weapon has been reworked into an icy grenade launcher, perfect for, chilling or crowd controlling enemies. Then there is the Tazakor, which has become an electric chaining weapon, similar to the Verglass, except it's electric. It can stun enemies in a group. They've also focused heavily on improving pet AI, with things like leading the pack, where pets will move ahead of you, positioning themselves closer to enemies. Then there's target adjustments, where they'll focus on enemies in your field of view, reducing, the frustration of off-screen attacks. Speed boost: when off-screen, pets will move faster to close the distance on enemies. There's now smoother animations, which will allow your pet to keep up with you while you bullet jump. So there's a lot of stuff coming this week, and that's not to mention the quality of life changes for new players, like the easier Kubrow acquisition, which again are huge for new player retention, because that quest alone has caused a fair amount of new players to put the game down. But let me know in the comment section below what you think of all of the huge amount of changes that are coming with the Koumei and the 5 Fates update this week. For me, it's Nova changes and that pet rework. While Koumei does look good, but the nature or the random nature of her abilities is a little bit different than what I'm used to, so I gotta test her out first. However, also, Caliban looks goddamn solid. Hit that like button if you found this video helpful, or don't if you didn't. Have a great day, and as always, thanks for watching.